Boy, there was something going on yesterday in Houston, and that was the Lamar Jackson show. Heck, it's the Baltimore Ravens show, winning 31-2. Everything went well for the Baltimore Ravens. Nothing went right for the Houston Texans, and it went so right for the Baltimore Ravens, Monty, that we now have another, I don't know if it's controversy, debate, if you will, but the NFL's MVP award, now maybe not as much of a runaway as we thought it was going to be. Josh Allen entering the weekend was minus 500.
Okay.
That's what the odds, according to BetOnline, entering this week of games, minus 500 to be the MVP. Lamar Jackson was second at plus 375. Now, Lamar sets the record, NFL record for quarterback rushing yards, passing Michael Vick. For a season, his passer rating this year is, I believe, the second best, only to a season by Aaron Rodgers that we've seen in NFL history. Lamar's numbers are off the charts, but there was a sizable gap entering the week, according to the Las Vegas odds. How much of that gap did Lamar Jackson close on Josh Allen for the MVP?
Do you have numbers?
I don't.
Okay.
But I can tell you this, that there are a lot of people that think that Lamar Jackson is now the MVP after that performance on Wednesday. And it's the ultimate form of recency bias. It completely is. And if you say that it isn't, it completely is, because it happened yesterday and Josh Allen and the Bills didn't play. But the one thing that Lamar Jackson and his team had going for him is they were playing what was considered a meaningful game against the Houston Texans, and it was in a window where everybody was watching. And not everybody's going to see Josh Allen against the Jets coming up this weekend. I wouldn't watch the Jets if I had to, but maybe if you want to watch Josh Allen play, go right ahead and see what his candidacy would be. But I don't know if how much Buffalo is going to put on Josh Allen's plate, how much they're going to put him in harm's way. Lamar Jackson last night was magnificent, but Josh Allen is still my MVP of the 2024 NFL season, and it's no disrespect to Lamar. I just feel that what Josh Allen has done this year with less on his plate in Buffalo than what Lamar has in Buffalo than to what Lamar has in Baltimore right now. That's why Lamar Jackson right now still is not caught up to Josh Allen as the MVP.
Yeah, I am glad I'm not a voter, because I do think I could be swayed either way, right? Like, you can really pick a side and fight it tooth and nail and maybe sway a voter. I do think it's close. Lamar Jackson has never played like this. He has unlocked levels of explosiveness that we hadn't seen before. And one of the terms I feel like I see a lot, he's putting up video game numbers. And he really is. Like, it's incredible to watch. He alongside Derrick Henry. And I feel like that is a big part of the success that he has had and that the Ravens have had. I am with you that I think if I was voting, I think I would vote for Josh Allen, because I didn't even have the Bills making the playoffs this year. I thought they were in a rebuild mode. Who is he throwing to? Keon Coleman, a rookie? Like, he lost offensive weapons. I did not expect him to be able to carry a team that defensively has really let him down in certain games where he has to go and be the hero, which we have seen Josh Allen do in past years. It just hasn't been successful. He has committed less turnovers this year than last year, which was a big dig at him. He had 18 turnovers last year, interceptions. And so I think I would give the edge to Josh Allen because of the whole season. Like, if I just look at the whole season instead of a recency bias, because, yeah, Lamar was awesome yesterday. He had a 48-yard rushing touchdown. He, took a little step back and left, shook someone off, broke his ankles, and took off. Like, not everyone can do that. What Lamar Jackson is doing is really incredible. But I cannot not just forget that he's doing it next to Derrick Henry. I just can't forget that. You're having a Hall of Fame running back next to you that's going to end with 2,000 yards from scrimmage likely, and a wide receiver that's probably going to end close to 1,000 yards. Josh Allen doesn't have that around him, so I have to give the edge to Josh Allen because of that.
The subtraction of Stephon Diggs and the addition of Derrick Henry change our perception of the two teams.
Yeah.
There's no doubt about that.
And I thought the Ravens would win the division coming into the season. Like, I sure. always thought they were going to be successful.
Sure. And there are a lot of people that didn't think you didn't have Buffalo in the playoffs.
No, I put Chargers in.
And hey, they're probably going to make it as well.
Put the Chargers in instead of Buffalo.
But this is Lamar winning it last year hurts him this year. Just like it hurts Nikola Jokic with the Denver Nuggets in the years past of is he able to win? Was he going to be able to win 3 straight? At some point, there's a bit of fatigue over it. And in Lamar's case, his numbers may be better than Josh Allen, but it's never been a better numbers competition.
Yeah, that's what I was told last year.
It's more of what it is with the team and what is around the team. And just the addition of Derrick Henry, where it appears the Ravens got better and it appears the Bills got worse, I think that's enough to sway. And the recency bias that I talk about is what we've seen in the last 24 hours. There's no doubt how great Lamar Jackson is. We've seen it time and time again. And you know what else is great about Lamar is he rises to the occasion on games like this and in big games, and he does what he does. But we forget the month that Josh Allen had in beating the Kansas City Chiefs, beating the Niners in a snowstorm in a game again where he threw a touchdown pass technically to himself. You know, threw the pass and then got the lateral and ended up scoring. They in a loss to the Rams, they put up 42 points when he scores, has a part in 6 touchdowns in that game. And then they go to Detroit and beat the NFL's best team. And we've just forgotten all of that because of a Christmas Day game in Houston that happened yesterday. And that's the part. To answer your question on the updated odds, now it's not the same place that gave the odds, but minus 250 for Josh Allen now, plus 160 for Lamar Jackson.
So it closed,
quite a bit of a gap closing. However, still a significant lead for Josh Allen when Lamar's only got 1 more game to play, and Josh Allen has 2 more to play.
The recency bias, though, that's very common. That's not just this year. That's very common when it comes to the MVP voting. Last year, everybody was like, Lamar has got it in the bag after they beat the San Francisco 49ers and the defense had multiple interceptions. And that at that point, everyone's like, oh, it's done and sealed and delivered. So the recency bias is not new when it comes to MVP. And in the NBA, the same thing. I mean,
happens all the time in the NBA.
Perkins literally stopped Nikola Jokic from getting his 3rd MVP. Like, he literally, just by the words he said, all of a sudden, Nikola Jokic doesn't win his 3rd MVP, Joel Embiid gets it, and then falls flat in the playoffs. And everyone's like, oh, should we have given it to Nikola Jokic? Yes, he should have. He should probably have 5 right now. Like, if we're being 100, Nikola Jokic should just probably have 5 MVPs.
But that's the nature of the award.
It is.
And that's the part that I can't get away from as well is why would we all of a sudden change how we look at the award in a way? Like, Lamar has earned his 2 MVPs and probably deserves a 3rd, but he's not the first player in history to not win an MVP when he deserved it.
Right.
And so at what point do you give Josh Allen an MVP who has played to that level? And I just feel that this year honestly, if Baltimore and Buffalo play on a field tomorrow, I'm taking the Ravens 10 times out of 10, in that game for what they have. And I think maybe that answers my own question of who I should be voting for, but I don't think that it's all Lamar in that situation. I just think Baltimore has more. We look at Baltimore's receiving core sometimes as less, but you mentioned who you just mentioned with the Bills. It's Keon Coleman, it's Khalil Shakir, it's an injured Dalton Kincaid, and it's Amari Cooper who was brought in this past year. Zay Flowers legit, Mark Andrews legit, Isaiah Likely. I mean, they went 3 deep in their tight end position at one point this season. Shad Bateman's gotten
Zay
better.
Zay Flowers already has 1,000 yards.
Yeah,
already has 1,000 yards.
So there are weapons in Baltimore. I just hate the one-off games sort of deal because it just ends up changing everything.
It is. And again, it's just annoying because it happens across all sports. Like, it's not new. The recency bias is not new. But and a lot of people bring up, the Ravens beat the Bills early on. That's true. If you want to do that, like you mentioned, the Bills beat the Chiefs and the Lions. Like, it's just the comparison of who won, who beat who, I don't like. It's just more of like, I think Josh Allen is doing more with less, and he is more valuable. If we were to switch and put Lamar in Buffalo and put Josh Allen in Baltimore, what do you think would happen?
Well, if Josh Allen had won the previous 2 MVPs, and if you're asking me if they have the same numbers, I think Lamar would then have won it in Buffalo.
No, do you think they'd both be successful if we just switch them?
Yeah, I actually do.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that I mean, Lamar's passer rating, I mean, it's off the charts, and there's so many things that you have to worry about. The question is do you worry more now about Lamar with Derrick Henry also there? And I would say no. So if you put Lamar in Buffalo, I think Lamar's probably having the seasons that he had previously in Baltimore. Mm-hmm. The other thing in Baltimore, honestly, which has helped him a little bit and is helping Allen so they kind of negate themselves, is their defense Baltimore's defense isn't as good as it was previously.
It's not last year's defense.
Correct,
for sure.
correct. Which I think allows his numbers to be inflated. But in saying that, they've also needed to score more. And so Lamar has done that, where Josh Allen now in the defense as well. Like you see, they score 42 points in the game and still lose. So I don't think that that's a deciding factor at all.
Yeah, no. And I'm glad I'm not voting because I think you can sway someone. I feel like if you want to argue it, you could. It's very close. I also it bothers me that Saquon Barkley isn't in the conversation, if I'm being honest about it, that but I shouldn't be surprised since Christian McCaffrey wasn't in the conversation last year.
Well, here's the other portion of it. Derrick Henry, you know what Derrick Henry did yesterday?
Yeah.
147 yards and a touchdown.
Yeah.
So we're not even talking about that aspect of it as well.
Right. So he's a big part of the success. And not to take away from what the Ravens are doing, but Derrick Henry has just opened up so many different options for them. And it's just, it took them a couple of games to figure it out because it wasn't like that to start the season. You were almost like, how is this going to work out?
And I'll say one final thing, and then we'll get to Isaac for a quick update. Lamar's season, if he doesn't win it this year, should at least give him credit towards an MVP next year. Like it should give him like a two-step lead because it should carry over for how good his season is. But if we're going to judge it how we've always judged it and how we've played it in, and I think Lamar should have won it last year, and I'm glad that he won it last year. It's the fact of it should be Josh Allen's, because if Josh Allen isn't going to win it this year, he's never going to win one. And Josh Allen should win an MVP for what he's done. So let's spread it out a little bit, but maybe Lamar gets a head start for next year on number 3.